Between the two of them.
The inside of Coates.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Hello everybody. Do you know, I nearly said happy Wednesday because we normally do broadcasts on a Wednesday. I should know by now, of course, that Mini Challenge is Tuesday evening. Thank goodness, because it gives me Wednesdays off for a few weeks. Welcome along to the Virtual Reality Racing Club Mini Challenge UK Esports Series. Richard John Neal here once again. That's the bad news. The good news, and I don't know how this is going to work out, we've got Albert Webster with us. Albert, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, thank you, Richard. How are you?
I'm nearly above average, thank you very much, which is about as good as it gets, mate. I'm really looking forward to working with you. I've got to say that Ria and Rich and everyone have done a great job of getting some really superb people to work with us on these. There is no better series of co-commentators for sure that we have. And just for people that don't, I'm sure everybody that's watching does know, but you're part of the JCW Championship, came up through Fiesta Juniors, and so should be pretty well known, I think, to everyone that's watching this. And as I said to you on the build-up, feel free to chip in and argue with what I say or point things out that I don't get, which is probably quite a lot. And just have a good time, mate. We're being directed by Steve Allen, so Steve, thanks for doing the business there. Looking forward to working with Steve again. Does a great job of giving us the shots that he thinks we need and we think we need as well, which is good. And well, that's about it really to get going. We're going to have a look at where we are in terms of the campaign. We're at round 2, as you can see. Snetterton, Oulton Park next week, and then Croft, Silverstone, Thruxton, and we wind up as we do in the real world at Brands Hatch GP. Although it won't be wet, cold, and miserable for the esports version, unlike when we go there in September, October. So championship table looks like this. Everybody has to drop one round, but you can't drop the last round, which is Brands GT. So the points we're looking at there are last week's points. Technically, on drop scores, everybody is equal at the moment, and that has a relevance a little bit later on when we get onto one of the later panes. But top scorer last week was Andy Dorman from Andy Carroll. Thomas Potter was third. What you can see as well in the first column of the highlighted bit is the ballast that's being carried by some of the drivers as well. So obviously Andy Dorman's got 30 kg, Andy Carroll 27, Thomas Potter 24, and that will affect things as we go on. Top real world driver Harry Hickton, he's doing very well at the moment in the practice session server, which is very good to see. Mackenzie Taylor 5th from James Black, who is our driver of the round, as indicated by the little golden laurel there under the Donington column. Alex Solly was 7th last week from Will Yap. Will Clark was 9th. Kenny Press, very impressive actually, top 10 for Kenny, the man who looks after all our logos. So let's move on. 11th was Paul Laramie last week, then Alex Walker and Jack McCall, the youngster, having a great debut with us. And I'll point out the fact that we've got Manpower Motorsport there with Jack McCall. So we've got representatives from various real world teams as well. And Jack, not even of age to race a junior car yet, as is Thomas Potter. So great that we've got a mixture of more mature drivers, senior drivers, and some youngsters that race in junior formally, and those that aren't even old enough to do that yet. The Iceman is next up. Callum Einstein 14th from Kevin Yap. Chris McKenzie, our race-winning driver from the JCW Sports, is 16th from Will Crooks. Christian Gillian in 18th with nil point because he's broken his arm. Hopefully he'll be back in before too long. Similarly with Monroe Renard, I don't know if Monroe's with us. He was on holiday last week, just having a quick look to see if he's on the timing. We'll come back to that in a minute. And Simon Sweetland, we hope he joins us at some point, the boss of Max Tune Motorsport, who run with Accelerating the Real World. Those three obviously not with us last week, but we've got another panel to show you, which is new drivers who we welcome to the championship this week. The first of which is Henry Howarth. Now, I don't think Henry should be here because it's his 18th birthday, and any self-respecting 18-year-old should probably be down the pub. Happy birthday, Henry. He's down in 12th at the moment, so maybe after qualifying you might well disappear down the pub. His dad tells me, though, I think that he will go for a drink afterwards. So, Henry, many happy returns. Congratulations on your 18th, and thank you for joining us. Have a blast, and if you do half as well in this championship as you're doing in the real world, of course he's leading the JCW Sports at the moment, then we're in for a bit of a blast with Henry Howarth. Next up is Lee Piercy. Lee is one of our top drivers from VRRC. Just by way of example, was runner-up in our last championship, which was the World Endurance League, which finished last week, and second runner-up in the single-seater F4 championship, which we did before that. So top man is Lee Piercy. And we welcome him. We've got Lewis Stannard, one of the stars of the Junior Saloon Car Championship, is with us as well. Been very impressive in testing, so can't wait to see what Lewis is going to do on track. Another mini-man, of course, is Murray Richardson, racing under the colours of Vera Alliance Academy. And we also welcome with Accelerate Motorsport, Zach Hancock. So, sorry to over-egg the newcomers, but a warm welcome to all five of you. Thanks ever so much for joining us in our Mini Challenge UK eSports series, and hope it goes well for you, as well as it did for these guys last week. Overall winner was Andy Dorman, as we saw on the points. Andy Carroll second, the Flying Teapot was third, and James Black was our driver of the round. We'll have another driver of the round today. Maybe someone who wins the races, maybe someone further back. We'll got a great big panel of us that'll feed into that and pick a winner at the end of the evening. So that's where we are in terms of our minis, but a change of flavour now. Let's head over to Hayden to talk touring cars.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, it's just a shameless plug for our next championship, which starts Wednesday night next week, 16th. So we've got a World Touring Car head-to-head. So it's front-wheel drive Audi LMS RS3 versus the BMW rear-wheel drive 330. It starts on July 16th, as I said, Wednesday nights from 7 p.m. 15-minute quali followed by two 20-minute races. So we've got quite a full grid at the moment. We're on 20 entrants, but we've still got some space on the grid for a few more. So if you are interested in racing around some of the best circuits in the world in a couple of the best touring cars, then by all means join our Discord and give me a shout, and hopefully we can get you on board. But really looking forward to that. Touring cars are always a good championship for us. We decided to do something a little bit different this time. We've got two firm camps of people that prefer front and rear wheel drive, so we've put something in for both of those two camps. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
That'll be good. Yeah, make sure you join. I'll be popping up for a couple of rounds. Commentary on that one's going to be done by Scott Woodwit and various other guests, as we're used to having now on VRRC. So looking forward to seeing how that unfolds next week. Sadly, I can't make next Wednesday. I was actually going to watch some real world racing, but there we go. That's another story. Here we are then at Snetterton, the 300 circuit. One of my faves, to be perfectly honest. And those of you with us last week, and probably I think for World Endurance the week before, will know that I've got our guest commentator to do the run round, and we've got a lap with Andy Carroll coming up, which Andy recorded earlier, and it's my duty therefore to ask Albert Webster to be our guide around the track, and he can tell us what Andy Carroll is doing right and wrong. So let's head over onto the graphic now. There is Andy's car, so you can see it when it's out on track for the racing proper, and very distinctive livery, the silver and gold livery. And over to you, Albert.
Awesome. So we're going down into turn one now, up to 6th gear, hard braking, down 2 gears into 4th, getting round, getting the car turned in and back onto the power all the way down into turn 2. This is a great overtaking space for the whole race for everyone up and down the field. Hard braking into the hairpin, trying to get a great run out up to turn 3. You know, again, like I said, you can get a great overtaking round up the inside, round the outside, trying to get up the inside for turn 3. Quick little turn 3, up, quick turn in, squeezing on the power on the exit, making sure not to run wide and get off the track. all the way down into turn 4 again. A great overtaking spot, another hairpin, this time going left before the in section. After the hairpin, we've got a tiny little straight down before Hamilton's, fast left-hander. Got a lot of commitment in real life and on the sim through here. Got to get it slowed down, in and back on power as quick as you can. Back through the double right now, leading before the back straight. First right, a little bit of straight before the corner onto the back straight. This is a vital corner before round the track, just because you've got to get round it and get a mega run down the back straight. It is a very long straight into under the bridge. All the way down here, all the way up to 6th gear, keeping it, flat out the whole way down and just hoping you've got a good run all the way down here. Hard braking under the bridge. It's a very difficult bit of the track. Getting it slowed down before the right, making sure not to hit the curb too hard, getting on the exit nice and gently. Through the bomb hole, a lot of commitment through here. Just a small lift going through the bomb hole up towards second to last corner. A lot of commitment again through here. It's just holding onto the car and hoping that it sticks. Getting through all the way on the inside before slowing it down for the last corner. Again, making sure you get a great run onto the front straight, a massive straight all the way down to turn 1 again.
There you go. That is a lap with Albert Webster. Thanks for that, Albert. Which is your favourite part of the track from racing experience? And it can vary if you want from juniors to seniors.
I love going down the back straight, under the bridge, going the left, the right. I think, you've got to have so much commitment all the way around there just to hold on to it and try and get it stopped before, stop it before going to the left and stop it before the right. I just love it. If you get it right, it's so satisfying. But if you get it wrong, it can really sting you.
What have you done to get it wrong, or have you not?
I have in the Mini earlier in the year for practice. I went in a bit harder than I was the lap before because I thought I'd try something. It started snapping, and then I went to the runoff, and it was slightly scary. But that's the furthest I've gone through that one. Nothing major through there, thankfully.
Oh, I'm pushing you on mistakes, but as a driver, you've got to have mistakes to learn, haven't you? You've got to learn where the limits are. And, if a mistake means you've gone over that limit, you've learned from it and you've improved as a driver. Yeah,
exactly. If you don't ever make mistakes, you never know exactly how fast the car is and what it can actually do. If you, build up to, keep building up, go a little bit later on the brakes, go in a little bit faster, if you run off one lap, you've gone a little bit too fast, so you bring it back and the limit, and you can just keep working from there.
Absolutely cool. And qualifying is underway. Those of you who've got your timing open will see that this man, Lewis Stannard, is top of the tree at the moment. As I say, a late entry, as you saw from the panel, the third page of championship points that we've got. And Lewis was quickest in the testing session that stopped just before the qualifying, and has set a provisional pole time as well. 2 minutes 1.885. The only driver at the moment in the 201s is Lewis Stannard. Comes from Banstead in Surrey, so not actually that far from me. I'm based over in Croydon, and he was the youngest, I think, in JSCC last year, if what I've read is correct, and race winner this year as well. Not managed to keep up with all of the word on JSCC so far this year, but a very, very, very quick junior, as is being proved with what's going on out there at the moment with Harry Hickton in P2. And of course, you're racing against Harry and the like this year.
Me and Harry are both in the Mini JCW Championship this year. It's going a good championship so far this year. Very competitive, up and down through the field. So, really, really good racing against Harry. See him doing well in this as well. Really good.
One of the things I've noted about your career, Albert, and it's difficult, I know, for everybody to put money together, but you've just leapt up in terms of you went from juniors to senior Fiestas into the JCW Sport, having won the scholarship, and now up into JCWs. But it seems to me you never give yourself time to settle down and get a run. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm sure you'd love to be in a position with a sponsor where someone could say, actually, what you want to do is back you for 2 or 3 years, and give yourself a couple of years in JCWs, and then we'll have a look at touring cars and give you time to bed yourself in. And for a lot of young drivers, that's not a luxury that you can have, is it?
No, definitely not. I mean, money is a major thing in racing. If you've got it, amazing. If you don't, you've got to work you've got to work so hard just to try and make things, work and get together. But yeah, I had a few years in Fiesta Juniors from 2020 to 2022, 3 years in that. That was just learning the craft, building it up, and I got third in the championship in the end there. And then I made the move up to mini Fiesta ST240s in 2023. I was lucky enough, we worked really hard to get the money together to race that season, and thankfully, after all the hard work we put in, I won the championship on that. So then, it was a natural progression to move up. We looked at the mini scholarship they were doing on the year for the 2024 season, and I was lucky enough to come out victorious in that, winning that, allowed me to race the JCW Sport Car last year. We were quick. Obviously, we had a small incident at the start that put me out for a round after, but this year we've got Miller's backing us, and they are a vital help for us. They are a very, very good sponsor. We're trying to do as much as we can for them, and they're doing as much as they can for us, and we're doing everything together, helping each other, and they have been a vital part of my season this year.
It's great that they're giving you that support, and well done to you on getting that, and also winning the scholarship the previous season as well. Scholarship is, of course, still ongoing, and it's slightly different, guys, and it makes me link into the addition to the grid of Jam Sport, and obviously Henry Howarth, birthday boy. I won't mention the birthday too much because I know people get fed up with that. But great to have Jam Sport on our grid with us for the esports series, and Jam Sport running a scholarship. I think Jamie Going was telling me he's going to be launching the scholarship for next year in the next few weeks, so you can get in early and get an entry in, and you too could be on the grid next year. It's an absolutely amazing opportunity that Mini with Jam Sport put together. Lewis Stannard is top of the tree. There is Lewis. Easy livery to pick out because it's nice and plain. Whether he'll change that for next week remains to be seen. But Lewis Stannard, 201885. Andy Dorman is now up into P2 with Harry Hickton in third. Lovely to see two real-world drivers up there mixing it on the podium positions at the moment. Harry did get onto the podium. Harry Hickton got onto the podium in race 2 last week. But at the moment, the Sim lads have got a little bit of work to do. Andy Dorman flying the flag for them at the moment. Andy, as I say, a regular front runner in ours. He was third in the Cupra Cup a couple of seasons ago. When I say a couple of seasons ago, it's probably only about 6 months ago, because each championship tends to last 1 or 2 months. So Andy, no slouch. And I mentioned Lee Piercy earlier on. He's now down into 4th place with 2:15 on the clock. Anyone grabbing you here, though, Albert, in terms of what you're looking at maybe on screen or on the timing?
No, it's looking very close. Lewis Stannard has a bit of a gap down before 2nd place now, nearly 2.5 tenths. I think, that's extremely good. And then looking at the rest of it, it's all less than a tenth most of the time, all the way down to, less than a tenth between everyone, all the way down to 12th, 13th, that sort of area. And it's Lewis Stannard's looking very, very fast at the moment.
He is looking very good, as I say, and consistent as well, because he was beforehand. Now, out of the real-world drivers, because you've got the mic, and I'm pretty sure you maybe done some of this at the track, you can dish a bit of dirt, can't you, on some of the drivers you've raced against. So, come on, let's tell us some of the stories about the people we've got out there.
No, to be honest with you, I haven't really driven much against most of these guys. I've driven against Harry this year, and we've had a few little battles, but we haven't actually spent much time near each other on track. Alex Solly, me and him have had a few good battles this year, but yeah, I haven't actually been on track with most of these people. Chris McKenzie last year, we were teammates running in the same morning together on the JCW Sport Grid. And again, we saw each other on track a little bit, but not a major amount, actually.
You're both winners, though, in your respective class. I mean, you took a lot of wins last year, and Chris is now winning driver in JCW Sport. So it's a good training ground, isn't it, for the JCWs?
Oh, yeah, 100%. It gets you used to the car and the size of it, how it all runs, and how it goes at a British Touring Car meeting, because from a club championship to the BTCC grid in the paddock, it's a big jump up, and it does help a lot. And you know, I think it's a brilliant place to learn how mini run and how it all goes before jumping up into the JCW class.
And that's exactly what it was formed for. And it's I wish we got more chance to look at it a little bit more on the TV, but the directors have a really tough job, you know, trying to call out what's going on at the front as well as looking at the class. So we will try and reference it a little bit more as the season goes on. You guys are back with us at Croft, I think. Yeah. So we're looking forward to. But it's another one of those frustrating rounds. We've only got 2 races, isn't it? I'll come back to that a little bit later on because we are at the checkered flag now, and Andy Dorman finishes in P2. Lewis Stannard just about to. He's completed his lap now, so Lewis Stannard on that provisional pole, which is looking less provisional now as we go along. It looks like we're going to get an interview with our debut man, Andy Dorman in P2. Third place is Harry Hickton, who had a little ding in the barrier. We'll ask him about that. And basically, the positions stayed the same over the last couple of laps. Lee Piercy is P4. 5th position goes to Thomas Potter. Can't remember where Thomas qualified last week, so have a quick look at the Flying Teapot for last week was... oh yeah, he was on pole last week, wasn't he? So he won't be very happy about P5, or Thomas Potter. Now, I think he's everybody done. We'll have a quick look down. Kenny Press, a very impressive 6th place from Will Clark. Henry Howarth, great debut in 8th from Alex Solly. 10th, Murray Richardson from Andy Carroll, Paul Laramie and Will Yap. Then it's Mackenzie Taylor from Will Crooks. Callum Einstein next from Kevin Yap. Jack McCall in 18th from Zach Hancock. Then it's Alex Walker and Chris McKenzie in 21st. And we'll have some interviews with our top 3 from qualifying after this quick break. Welcome back, and thanks to our series sponsors and partners as ever, as we now look forward to our interviews on the podium before qualifying. 3rd position, first of all, in qualifying, and that goes to Harry Hickton. It sort of follows on from the 3rd position race interview we did last week. Harry, very well done. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I can definitely race from there. I think I made a few little mistakes on my fastest lap. Well, I think it was my first lap I did, and then I was just trying to get it back, and then as soon as you start to overdrive it a little bit, it's very hard to bring back. So I'm happy with it. Also, I've got the BOP ballast from the championship position. So all things considered, I'm quite happy with it.
That's really good. We saw a little moment. I'm sorry to drag it up, but we saw you, I think, going onto the back straight and clanging into the barrier. What happened there? Oh,
brilliant! You saw that.
Blame the director.
The curbs on this mod in particular, they're quite brutal. You don't really want to hit them. If you hit them at the wrong angle, the wrong speed, then they're like spitting you off. It's happened a few times over the week when I've been practicing. So I know to look out for that. Again, I was just overdriving it, just putting it a bit wide and then trying to bring it back, and just threw me off. But I'll have to watch out for that in the races.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, qualifying and testing, that's what those are for, really, to have the odd blip or whatever. Have you had a busy week? What have you been up to? Anything circuit-wise? Did you get to the Grand Prix or anything like that? Or?
Nah, I didn't go to it. I watched it. It was alright. I don't really watch the F1, but I thought I'd watched the British one. It was alright. It's not really my cup of tea. It's way more exciting. So yeah, stick to that.
That's good. And well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We've got 4 minutes left before the race, so I'm going to say well done, Harry, and we'll hopefully catch up with you after the race. Harry Hickton, P3 in qualifying. So moving up a step in terms of our virtual Podium, and well, it's the championship leader that we talked to next. A returnee last week to VRRC Racing, Andy Dorman. Andy, that's not a bad start to week 2, with a fair amount of ballast on board as well. Right, now I don't know whether you can't hear me or whether... Have we got Andy? So it may be that my internet's gone down, or it may be that Andy's. Let's just see if we can check. Oh, I can hear people talking to me.
Yeah, I think it's Andy's got a problem with his mic.
All right, we'll come back to Andy if we can a little bit later on. So let's move on then. It might give us a bit more time to talk to Lewis Stannard, who hopefully can hear us. Lewis, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
Many congratulations, pole position on your debut. So you've rocked up and showing the others how it's done. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, we've got a bit of an advantage as I've not got any BOP, so that definitely helps out a little bit. But yeah, really happy with it, to be fair. I've just been doing laps all week, trying to learn the car, learn how the car behaves with different setups, just trying to learn everything, whereas everyone else has had a week or two to get into it. But I think for the first race in the championship for me, I think so far it's going amazing.
And I'm guessing you do a bit of you're currently in the junior saloons, that's right, isn't it? And were you racing at the weekend?
No, unfortunately my mum had an operation 2 days before the weekend, so we unfortunately couldn't go due to that, but we might return.
Okay, is she okay, first of all? The most important thing is mum's health. How's she doing?
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, she's fine. It's nothing bad, it's just a little issue she had, but it's all good now.
Okay, well, we wish Mum all the very, very best, and you're absolutely right to put family first. So yeah, I hope she makes a very quick recovery from that. I'm obviously sorry you missed the racing at the weekend, but you're one of the front runners. I think I'm right. I read somewhere you're from Banstead, so you're not actually a million miles away from us Hoolies in Croydon.
Yeah, that's it. Not that far. My gran lives there. It's a 15-20 minute drive.
Yeah, that's good. I'm obviously hoping to get out in JSEC. Now, last year you were the youngest driver, so you've got a couple of seasons left. I mean, if you have a great season in junior saloons or any junior formula, there's a problem, isn't there? Because you want to move on, but you can't because you've got to be 16 or whatever to go and race in senior formula. We saw that with Jensen O'Neill Going, who won the Fiesta Juniors last year, and then basically can't do anything till mid-year this year because he's not 16 until then. So, what will be the plan? Will you do another season in juniors? I mean, obviously you're having a little mini break at the moment, but where would you go?
So next year I could do seniors because my birthday is right in the middle of March, which is where most championships start. So
Right.
we could try and do maybe mini Coopers if we have the budget, and potentially even JCW, but obviously money doesn't grow on trees, so we're going to try our best, but I think this is definitely one of the options for the future. Yeah, obviously the aim goal is touring cars, so we'll see.
Yeah, that would be really good. I don't know if Ria's watching today, but Ria will be very keen to have you and keep you in the BARC family as well, of course, because you're racing in the junior saloons, which is BARC, and Mini's obviously touring car paddock, which is BARC as well. So yeah, it'd be great to have you on board with that. We've got 5 minutes on the countdown to go. Was it a karting career before you came into junior saloons, by the way?
Yeah, so I started karting when I was 6. Did Bambinos, went up to the Honda Cadets, and then unfortunately I lost my license due to medical issues. So we've been fighting for the last 3 years to try and get my license back, and then in that time we found out about the Saxos, so we thought it was time to go up to cars, and it all just fell into place really. Obviously it's not ideal that I lost my license, but what can you do?
It's difficult, isn't it? I think, did I read type 1 diabetic like my commentary colleague Paul O'Neill? Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. I met Paul at Donington with the TCR. It's good to, see someone that's done what you want to do with an illness like that. So it was lovely to meet him. Nice guy.
and I will offer you any help and advice that you need as well, and that goes for anybody in motorsport. He's 100%. We have to try and get him. It's difficult to try. People say, can you do a co-com with Paul at some point? And we can, but he's very, very busy, and it's difficult kind of thing to organise. But yeah, he's a top guy for helping out on stuff like that. There's a couple of other Type 1 diabetics races as well, and actually our co-commentator, VRRC co-commentator, Becky Aparicio, lives with that as well. So if we can raise awareness of it through racing, then that's a good thing, because there might be people that think they can't go racing, and it's not the easiest thing to do. I'm guessing, as you've said, you probably had to work quite hard to get the license sorted.
Yeah, so you have to be within a certain range of percentage in the right numbers, I guess you could say. So it's definitely not the easiest thing in the world to do, but I never let it stop me, and I don't believe anyone should give up on their dreams because of something like that.
No, you're absolutely right, Lewis. Well, it's great that we've managed to talk about that, and great that we've had an opportunity to talk with you on your first outing with us on Virtual Reality Racing Club. So well done on pole, Lewis, and hopefully we'll catch up with you after the race if we can keep you there, grab a podium, and we'll speak to you a bit later on. But in the meantime, well done and good luck for the race.
Thank you.
That's Lewis Stannard who takes our pole. We've got Andy Dorman still in the mix there. And can you hear me now, Andy? The little icon on my screen is flashing, but I can't hear Andy. So maybe we've got a mic problem with Andy, which is a little bit of a shame. But we've got 2 minutes 22 to go. Andy, I'm going to let you go and get back to the race if you can hear us. And we'll try and catch up with you a little bit later on. And what I don't want to do is put Andy under pressure with very little time remaining as we head to the race. But let's catch up with Albert Webster. And Albert, so we've got Lewis Stannard on pole, Andy Dorman, our championship leader, P2, with a lot of ballast. Then we've got Harry Hickton, P4, Harry Hickton, P3, Lee Pearcey in 4th position, and Thomas Potter in 5th place. Anyone you fancy out of that lead group?
It's a difficult one. They've all done very well to be up the front here. It's very competitive this weekend. Today, sorry, it's not weekend, is it? But I know Harry Hickton can drive quick, and I know he can race well. So my money's on him in this race.
We'll see what he can do. It's races with the Manpower Motorsports team in the real world, and don't forget that we've got Jack McCall with Manpower Motorsport as well. But great to see so many teams coming in from the real world. We mentioned that we've got Accelerate, we've got the Vera Alliance Academy guys as well. Napa Livery's out there as part of that too. So really, really good to see all those drivers there. A minute to go before we head into our first race of the day. And don't worry about saying weekend, because it's taken me about a year and a half to stop saying that, and I'll probably still say weekend at some point during the course of the evening's commentary. The worst thing now is I'm having to remember it's Tuesday instead of Wednesday, because we've switched nights for the mini championship. Very good grid though. 23 drivers on the grid then for our opening race of the evening, and 30 seconds to go. I'm wondering whether the nerves jangle as much as they do for real world drivers, and we'll ask some of the real world drivers on the podium a little bit later on whether the nerves are the same or slightly different, and what those differences are. As we rock down, we'll see the lighting gantry appear on screen, which it does, and we're very nearly ready for our start. We've got a couple of drivers on, or at least one driver on soft tyres as opposed to the medium, which is the majority of the field, as the lights are now all illuminated and go out, and we're ready to go. So it looks like a good start for everybody, but the thing we've got to worry about here is turn 1, particularly when we get onto the top 10, which is reverse for race 2. But it looks like a decent enough start, and it's Lewis Stannard that made a very good start indeed, and goes away in lead position as he goes down to what used to be known the Montreal hairpin, and now known as Wilson, named after the late great Justin Wilson, as they miss the turning for the 200 circuit and head down towards the left-hander at Palmer. So it's Stannard from Dorman, Harry Hickton in 3rd place, Lee Pearcey is 4th, Thomas Potter 5th, Henry Howarth is up to 6th, and that was a fairly decent start by the look of it.
Yeah, nothing major. One person going off at the exit of turn 1, but rejoining a little bit down the field. Can't quite work out who that was.
Got a little bit of contact showing up on the timing screen, as you would expect at this stage of the race when everybody's racing in close proximity, and the little flags are recorded and will be looked at by our clerks just to make sure that all is fair. There were a number of little judicials last week, nothing major for us to worry about, but Lewis Stannard has started superbly here, and if he runs away with this, of course what he'll have to do is cope with the reverse grid race where the top 10 are reversed, which is a part of the official championship that we can replicate. I know it's not always top 10 in the official championship, but you do have to cope with reverse grids, and that can be good for somebody just getting their first go towards the start, or somebody maybe isn't perhaps having the rub of the green, as it were. But they're heading down towards Coram for the first time, with Stannard getting away from Andy Dorman and Harry Hickton in third place. Lee Piercy is fourth from Henry Howarth in the bright pink, and Harry Hickton having a look at Andy Dorman. He's going for the outside run, and that converts the inside as he go into Murray's the last corner. Very optimistic, but now look in the mirrors. Henry Howarth is all over the back of Harry Hickton. Lee Piercy goes up and demotes him, so Harry Hickton there under a little bit of pressure, and it shows how competitive this is, Albert.
Yeah, Harry Hickton went for a move up the inside, and like I said earlier, for the lap, you got to get a good run down into turn one, and unfortunately Harry Hickton, with the move that didn't quite work out into the last corner, got lost 2 positions from third down to fifth there. Henry Howarth diving up the inside there.
He did, yeah, he went in a little bit too deep, so it's Stannard from Andy Dorman. Lee Piercy now in third place. Lee missed the opening round, so I won't show all the points at the moment, but we'll start to get a real reflection if he gets 2 good finishes in this race in terms of the drop score round. And we look back at him, he's got 3 cars squabbling behind him, which is great news for him, because that kind of takes the pressure on him, but he can think about maybe trying to close in on Andy. So it's real world youngster Lewis Stannard out front at the moment. Then the 2 sim lads, Dorman and Piercy, with Henry Howarth next up for Harry Hickton, and Thomas Potter in 6th place. Thomas announced with us last week that he is going into Ginetta Junior for next year. Might possibly be able to make a debut later on in the season, the very, very last knockings, but might also consider having a go at the Ginetta Scholarship. Even if you're entered or stated intent of racing Ginetta, you can still enter the scholarship. As we look at the runners coming down the long back straight here at Snetterton, and Stannard, Dorman, Piercy, Henry Howarth in fourth. Henry's had a very good opening couple of laps here, and very clearly not on the alcohol yet for being 18, but he's going to have a well-earned drink later on, I'm sure. Got to be a rite of passage for an 18-year-old. Kenny Press 7th, having a good run. Alex Solly in 9th. Then it's Mackenzie Taylor and Andy Carroll in 10th place from Will Clark. And then it is Murray Richardson, isn't it? Completing the top 10 at the moment. This is a look back from Kenny Press. Alex Solly, another one of the JCW drivers getting stuck in. Alex is going to make a move. And is it doable around the outside here?
It's an ask. It's a brave one, you know. If you can make it stick, it's always going to come off. You know, you've always done well. But, you know, with the person on the inside, they're just going to hold it on the inside. They got the inside for turn 2, which gives you an extreme advantage, you know, making it around the outside of there. And then Alex Solly getting clipped from behind there by Mackenzie Taylor, making the move past him there in turn 2.
Yeah, the move in turn 1 where he was going around the outside. I've seen drivers in the real world be a lot more Kenny Press was, and pushing the drivers right the way out to the curb and sometimes a little bit further. And Kenny, to my mind, looked fair there. And you know, was that a little bit soft from Kenny, or was it just totally respectful?
I think that was fully respectful. He's
Nice.
not done anything wrong there. He's just, you know, give him space on the exit because he knew he had the inside for the next corner. So, you know, he didn't need to do anything silly. You know, last lap might have done something different, but, you know, such a long race still to go. You know, I don't think he had to do anything there.
Nice one. That's good to get your perspective on that. I saw an F4 move actually at the weekend where a driver fought for position, got inside, and then was adjudged to have forced the driver off and lost a key position, I've got to say, as a result. And for my mind, it was kind of 6 to 1 and half a dozen the other. I would not be an official. People have said, why don't you know, look at doing that? And it's not for me, not having done. I have race cars, but not enough in order to fully appreciate all the moves. So I tend to keep away from officiating if I can. Lewis Stannard still out front. Andy Dorman in P2. And it's a great job by Dorman with the extra ballast on as we look at Lee Piercy trying to close down on Andy as our leader comes through Murray's. The second, third place cars out of quorum and going together. And we always say at this point, Albert, about 2 cars, when someone's away in the lead, and you can see he's got a lead of about 2.8 seconds at the moment. The key thing here is going to be 2 and 3 should probably work together. I mean, have you been in this situation? How do you encourage one of your fellow drivers to work with you for a few laps?
You know, in real life, you know, because you can see each other, we're like throwing hands, going, go for it, go for it. Trying to get each other to work with each other. You know, sometimes, you know, it depends who it is really. You know, if you're friendly with them and you know you've got the pace to catch up, you know, you're going to work together, but sometimes you don't. But yeah, in this situation, I think they should work together to try and catch up to Lewis because he's got such a gap and, you know, he's been at the top of the times the entire time. So, yeah, they should work together, catch up to him, and then in the last few laps, really, if they can't catch him, then start battling. But, you know, they've still got 23 minutes to go. They need to work together, catch up to Lewis.
Yeah, it's bags of time, isn't there, to deal with that. Henry Howe started 8th, by the way, and up into 4th position, so he's had a really good start. And we shouldn't be surprised because the Jam Sport man at the moment leading the JCW Sport category in the real world and running well. We've got one of his colleagues joining us in the commentary box. We've got different commentators every week, by the way, in the co-commentator position for the Mini Challenge UK Esports series. So all of you are going to be welcome back if you want to come back and do commentary another time, because we always like to have an expert opinion on the racing. So stand on from Dorman. Lee Piercy in 3rd. We're watching that battle at the moment. A little bit of a gap developed back to 4th place now. So they're squabbling hard over it. Henry Howarth could probably use a little bit of help from Thomas Potter, who is behind him. They did have a touch a little while ago. Harry Hickton in 6th. Alex Solly next up from Kenny Press. He's having a good, strong race as well. Murray Richardson doing well in the Vera Alliance Academy car. Now from Mobley, having a good run ahead of Andy Carroll, who's down in P10. Mackenzie Taylor is next up from Will Clark, Will Crooks, Will Yap, Paul Laramie in 15th. Then it's Zach Hancock's one of our other newcomers in 16th place from Jack McCall, Kevin Yap, Callum Stone, Alex Walker and Chris Mackenzie completing the runners at the moment. We should probably get stops, I'm thinking, around about half distance. Who was it running on soft tyres? Let's have a quick look. It's Murray Richardson running on softs. You can stay on the soft tyre. You can have a stop if you want, but it's going to be interesting to see whether Murray's tyres last the distance. And now, but this is the point where I ask: have you actually have you got this kit? Have you done this at all?
No, I can't say I have. You know, I go on my sim a little bit, but I'm not, you know, the best on simulators. That's why I thought I'd give the commentating a go, because I'm not the greatest on the simulator. You know, I'm okay. I can race, but you know, I wouldn't be up the front with these boys at the moment. You know, not the fastest, not the most consistent, but you know, I do enjoy going on the sim. So I thought I'd sit this one out.
That's fair enough. We're glad you did, in terms of having you with us in the comms box, and I've heard you doing the commentary with Chris Hartley, I'm guessing it might have been, or one of the other lads in the main box at various times over the last couple of seasons, which has been good to listen to. And I love listening to those guys on a Saturday, because we're not live on a Saturday or ITV. So I get to listen to you guys do that, and I've got to say it is a real treat. This is a treat as well, watching our race leader getting away, putting in a really good performance at the moment. Stannard Dorman
Down to 10.
in 3rd. He is, yeah, Lee Piercy. Missed the moment there for Lee. And he will probably fight back. I do hope that this is a commitment to do the full championship for Lee Piercy, because he's one very, very good competitor in this, and indeed as a real world driver. We've got Chris Blakey and Paul Laramie. Chris Blakey not racing in this one, he's doing the touring cars next week. Paul Laramie, who's in this one, did well in the BMWs at Thruxton with the VRRC at the weekend. Races with the 750 normally, but had a away day or a guest day with Bark at Thruxton. One of the other mini drivers actually was telling me, I said it's going to be a big crowd at Thruxton. He was coming down to race, and he said, oh no, everyone's going to be watching GP. And I know he was pleasantly surprised at how many people there were at Thruxton, and that's a massive event they had because of the trucks that were racing there. You know, truck fans that can go and watch truck racing for real life instead of watching the GP on television, there's still going to be a big audience at Thruxton, and the Club Sport Mini Trophy it was, which is kind of an offshoot of this, I think very much enjoyed themselves. So that was good to see. So Harry Hickton now back up into podium position by virtue of Lee Pearcey dropping down the order, as we have a bit of focus on Alex Solly in the middle of the pack. Solly busy trying to close down on Thomas Potter at the moment. So Henry Howe still in fourth, Harry Hickton ahead of him. And then it's Thomas Potter, Alex Solly in the Napa livery. Things settling down now. Let's have a quick look where we are on the time. 18 minutes, very nearly at half
Alex
distance
Solly
in this one.
catching the curb on the outside of Hamilton, flicking it left.
Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? For Alex, it's going to push him down the order. He had a 5th and an 8th position last week, and that drops him down to 10th at the moment. So he's going to have to work really hard to get back on terms. Kenny Press now immediately in front of him.
Yeah, I think, he's got to get his head down, realise that it's happened and sort of deal with it, get on with it and just get back to racing, catch up to person ahead and try and get back through to where he was.
One of the things I love about the Mini Championship is, getting to know the drivers in the trophy, like Harry Hickton, Alex Solly. We got to know them, a great deal because we saw them racing a lot in there. And now they're up at the top level in JCW, which is exactly what Mini want drivers to do if they're able to do it. But it means that you kind of get to know what the guys are like and not support them. Well, we do support them, but it's lovely to be able to follow drivers making that move up through the ranks. And making a move here is Thomas Potter, looking to the outside of Henry Howarth. Now, these two, whether they've raced each other on sims, I don't know. We'll see how Henry copes with this one, but not quite enough momentum there for Thomas to go around the outside. And Henry's got the inside covered, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's doing the right thing, making sure that he's got the inside for turn 2. Again, like I said, it's a difficult one to overtake around the outside. You've really got to be deep onto the brakes and try and get a good exit. He's doing everything right so far. All it is letting Henry Howarth pull away forward, catching up to Andy Dorman and Lewis Stannard.
Yeah, he's going to try and do that. Lewis Stannard still the race leader, and there is the move. Thomas Potter gets his nose momentarily in front of Henry Howarth, but Henry grabs the inside move. So they go through Agostini now, heading down towards Hamilton, and has the line for the next corner. Again, this is the great thing about this layout that we have at Snetterton.
Yeah, it's such a good track.
It's very technical. It's a long one. A lot of club racers moan about it a lot, I've found. And it's too long a lap and they don't get enough laps in the racing. But you tend to find the higher up the ladder you go, as soon as you get to touring car level, everyone seems to like it.
Yeah, it's just got a bit of everything, It's got the high speeds, obviously down the straights. You've got the high speed corners, turn 1, all the way around towards the second to last corner, all that long right. It's got all of that. It's got the hairpins, it's got the technical sections in the centre. I do really enjoy it. It might be a long lap, but, it is what it is. You might have a long lap, but you've still got the same amount of time in a race compared to if you've got a shorter lap, you know what I mean? So you've just really got to nail it the whole way round, and if you get it right, you do get rewarded for it, making it sure that you're right every lap, getting it there.
I think there's going to be a few track limits cameras going off in a minute. So I've been trying to ask a couple of people whether we could get you might not know this about last week, but we were talking about track limits last week and saying that we're going to try and get an audio soundbite from Jonathan Palmer to tell people off and feed it in about going over his grass. But I haven't been able to do that thus far. And I personally haven't spoken to Jonathan for a couple of years, but we're going to see if we can get that just for a bit of fun at some point as we catch up with Murray Richardson having a good run up in 6th position now and looking at the inside line on Thomas Potter and goes through. So that's really kind of changed the dynamic of where we were. So Thomas having has he dropped away? It's Lee Pearcey, isn't it, coming back up now? Yeah, beg his pardon. Lee Pearcey
making moves back up.
Yeah, Lee Pearcey recovering actually pretty well. You've got now. I can't remember whether you guys have got a connection with Arena Essex. Did your dad race at Arena?
Yes, yeah, we raced at Arena Essex from 2011 until unfortunately when it shut in when was it? 2017.
Yeah, you'd probably be better known on the date than me. But Lee Pearce's dad was a champion over at Arena years ago
Oh, really? What was that
in Group A hot rods.
Oh, yeah, awesome, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I knew we'd find a link somewhere.
Yeah, no, best. They're just good fun, aren't they? Short ovals where my heart still lays. I still love watching it and going to racing. You know, whenever I'm not racing, I go to racetracks and watch more racing.
And your sister, are we allowed to mention your sister?
Yeah, by all means, she's doing
doing a
really
bit of
well. I
grass,
think she's doing.
doing a bit of grass track, isn't she, at the moment as well?
Yeah, so yeah, we've done short oval. When Arena Essex unfortunately shut, I was 12 years old, and then we moved into the short oval autograss series, junior saloons of little micros, Yaris's, and minis. And yeah, now she went when she was 14, 15, I think. We got her a car, and she started racing that as well.
And she's doing well. And do you know what? It's every bit as noted now and appreciated and respected as karting as a junior route, if not more so. And you've got the likes of Lewis Turkington doing it. I think Lewis has done more autograss this year than he has Fiesta Junior.
Yeah.
And he's a good peddler as well. He's such a great discipline, isn't it, for car racing? But anyway, we'll get off the dirt and come back onto the tarmac. So I'm sorry I do go off at tangents as we ride on board with Alex Solly. Looking back from Alex at the moment to Kenny Press right behind him, and then just behind Kenny Press is Lee Pearcey back up into the top 10. And crucially here, Lee Pearcey might find himself on reverse pole. So 10th would be reverse pole. If he can get a little bit further up, that'll put him further back on the grid, but it'll give him more points. So it's not all lost, is it, for Lee Pearcey having dropped down the order?
No, because you know he knows he's got the pace to be a front runner right now. Was sitting in third, battling for second. So you know if he's on reverse grid, front row, second row, I think he's be confident from there. I think he'll want to be up as far as he can in this race, just so the people he was racing originally before, unfortunately, he lost positions in time further back. So you know I think he's gonna chip on us, get as far forward as he can now, and then you know he may start a few positions down, but you know he knows he can race from there.
Had a good week last Wednesday. I think all the mini folk were with us last Tuesday. Wednesday we had the final of the World Endurance League, and Lee was racing a Ferrari, and I think jumped from 5th position, had a double win, jumped from 5th position in the table up into 2nd in the last knocking. It was a very impressive week for him. As we now watch Andy Carroll up ahead of a group with Alex Solly just going down the inside now of Richardson. Kenny Press is following as well. Thomas Potter still busy chasing Henry Howarth for 4th. It's actually really good for me. I can't tell you how weird it is, but in a good way, watching two drivers that I've watched a lot over the last couple of years, Thomas Potter and Henry Howarth, both from completely different fields, but racing each other here. It's really good for me to see that.
Yeah, no, they're both doing extremely well, keeping up with the likes of Harry Hickton, Lewis Stannard, and Andy Dormant. They're doing a really good job, having a really clean battle from everything we've seen so far. Doing really well at the moment.
Ollie Richardson trying to get stuck in and have a go, but this is down for 8th, 9th and 10th. We've got Lee Pearcey now into 9th place, chasing Kenny Press immediately ahead of him. Paul Laramie is in the group there as well, so Paul Laramie looking to try and catch up. There is Paul. We just saw the flash of the green and brown livery car, same livery that he runs on the circuits, as Stannard now 7 seconds clear Lewis Stannard from Andy Dorman. This is what Andy's doing here, of course, championship wise. Championship leader, he's got the most ballast on the car, so P2, really good performance from him. Useful points, because what he won't want to do is have a round where he has to drop points as we drop back to Thomas Potter and Henry Howard. Now, talk me through the Albert Webster mindset of the chase if you're Thomas Potter going after Henry Howard, and also what's Henry going to do here?
They've got a big gap up in front now. They've got less than 10 minutes to catch up, 6 seconds nearly to Harry Hickton. I think there's no real need to try and work together now. They're not going to catch him unless Harry does something silly. Hopefully he doesn't. Don't want to put a curse on him, but them two can properly start battling now as long as they keep it clean. I I don't think there's no need to try and work together now. The two behind are still battling as well, so they're not really going to get caught unless they do, go side by side for nearly a lap.
Sounds about right to me. Thomas Potter will be looking in his mirrors at where the car of Andy Carroll is, and we've lost Henry. I'm looking at my paperwork. He disappeared. Did you see what happened?
No, I didn't see that. Didn't catch it. I just saw him going down the times.
Might have had
in the pits.
It might have had a server glitch or something like that. Sometimes a driver will disappear from esports if they had something go wrong server-wise. But Henry down in 50. That's a shame. Great news for Thomas. Andy Carroll's down to 6 now. And the reason I'm single out Andy Carroll, second in the championship, and Thomas Potter will be keen to stay in front of him. If he stays a couple of places in front, then that could put Thomas in a provisional second place in the championship. After this one, he just needs to be consistent, as you do in any championship, to be perfectly honest. So Lewis Stannard now 8 seconds clear of Andy Dorman, Harry Hickton in 3rd, Thomas Potter in 4th. Those positions relatively settled as we watch Andy Carroll chasing Alex Solly. Alex Solly bounced back well, didn't he, from his troubles earlier on?
Yeah, I mean, after going off there,
Harry Hickton's just dropping as well.
Oh yes, they're all going off recent. They're all going. No, he's done really well to come back to where he was, as well as Lee Pearcey, both dropping down the times to about 10th, 11th, that sort of area, and both coming back up to now what is 4th and 6th for the both of them. Yeah, doing really well.
Thomas Potter's up on a podium position now, and we haven't had the curse of the commentator yet, so I'm sure that will happen at some point. Stannard, Dorman and Potter, with Alex Solly now up into P4. Really a worthwhile recovery for Alex Solly as well. Really remarkable way he's got his head down, and that's the kind of thing we're looking at for round, actually, his recoveries as well as good drives up the front. Lee Pearcey in 6th, Harry Hickton 7th from Mackenzie Taylor's having a good solid drive as well in 8th place. Then Kenny Press, who's impressed me again, as he did last week. He's in the top 10. He's 9th, and Paul Laramie in 10th from Will Crooks, who's one of our real world drivers as well, running in the JCW Sport, so having a good run. See whether Lee Pearcey can make a little bit more progress. He's going to be looking at Andy Carroll. These two know each other real well, so Pearcey in blue, Andy Carroll, as we saw from the hot earlier, in the silver and gold livery. And Pearcey, I think, is going to have a look at the outside as they go down to Wilson's. You can tell it's an old render of the track because you've got the thing called the scary tree in the background as you look at that corner. I don't know if you're aware of that, Albert.
Yeah. You can see it in the background from that angle perfectly. Just looks like a man jumping out.
We've chopped down. I think it was chopped down before COVID, actually. But yeah, it was a well-known feature. I'm kind of glad the games have kept it in because it is a nice feature of Snetterton. Another airfield circuit, by the way. Many of the tracks were used as old airfields were sort of reused as racetracks after the Second World War. They basically using perimeter roads and runways as well, if needs be, which is how those came about. But we've got Andy Carroll now still coming under pressure from Harry Hickton trying to recover as Lee Pearcey now has got up into 5th. So Solly, Pearcey and Hickton all recovering. And Andy Carroll doing what he did in the Endurance Series, which is just sort of being there. And I'll say plodding round. I think he used that word in one sense. But Andy drives with his head and obviously, like everybody else, tries to keep it on track, but generally managed to do that more than the others as well. Hickton goes in, just has a little bit of contact, looks down the inside, and I tell you what, that was a shame. Andy Carroll ultimately ends up going over a little bit too much grass, but neither of them have lost places, but they have lost a bit of time with that contact.
Yeah, that was, Harry Hickton went out, and I think they had a bit of, when the cars are fully loaded up, going around the left under the bridge, had a small bit of contact, what threw them both off balance and offline. A bit of a shame because it was, they were both catching, having a really good battle, but Lee Pearcey's just loved that. He's pulled away now, right on the back of Alex Ollie.
He is now. He's going to try and get back up into the top 4, which will almost make Lee Pearcey's recovery complete. He's not going to get onto the podium where he was earlier on, I don't think. Thomas Potter is a fair old way down the road as we watch Paul Laramie trying to close in on Kenny Press. Will Crooks down behind, Will Clark, Will Yap. Next up from Henry Howarth in 14th. Now, Henry showing in purple. Does that mean Henry Howarth has got the fastest lap of the race? As we have a quick look, as a 2:02.
2:02.8 nearly, yeah. Fastest lap now.
Yeah, doing good is Henry Howarth. So maybe a little 18th birthday red mist dropping after he went off for whatever reason. We'll try and find out what that was as the Piercy goes through. Here is the Solly and Piercy battle going on. Lee Piercy takes a little bit longer on the exit there and still chasing Alex Solly. So this for 4th place and very useful championship points. And Piercy needs as many as he can because round 1 last week will be his dropped round, assuming he stays the course with us over the next few weeks. Great to hear that we've got loads of entries for our head-to-head touring car championship. If you fancy a bit of this, if you want to come and race this championship as well, if you're a spectator with the Assetto kit, or even if you haven't got the Assetto kit, you can get involved. You don't have to do the full championship. You're more than welcome to come in and have a go with us over the remaining 5 rounds. We'd love to have you join us either head touring cars, but make yourself known if you're a fan and want to race against some real world drivers. This fight's going on big time here with Piercy, P4, Alex Solly in P5. They come out of Coram, come down towards Murray's as Thomas Potter clears Murray's now and goes down the centre straight for one more time. 2 minutes 54 on the clock. Solly trying to get back on terms with Piercy. Down behind them it's Harry Hickton, who's recovered well in 6th, Andy Carroll in 7th, Mackenzie Taylor in 8th, Paul Laramie 9th, Kenny Press wrapping up our top 10. So Kenny Press potentially on pole for the reverse grid race 2. 2 minutes 36 to go. Curse of the commentators here, very maybe, but Stannard, Dorman and Potter looking good for our podiums.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a massive gap now in front. Lewis Stannard's nearly pulled a 10-second gap already. Very, very impressive. Very good, especially in this first weekend, first event out. Yeah, driving flawlessly. You know, hopefully we don't curse him, but doing very well so far. Yeah,
and great to see him doing this as opposed to, you know, if you can't get out and race for real, as you heard, that we wish he's gone well after her op, and he wasn't able to go racing this week, as Mackenzie Taylor pops through past Andy Carroll. Great stuff from Mackenzie Taylor here, and you can see Andy Carroll. I knew I was going to do an Adam Carroll, ex-Formula 3 driver, well before your time, Albert, but Mackenzie Taylor goes through. Always get the muddle up. If I'm not doing a Wednesday night or a weekend, it's definitely an Adam Carroll, but Andy Carroll passed there by Mackenzie Taylor, who has come through into 7th position now. 1 minute 33 remaining on the clock. Mackenzie Taylor, just to put it in perspective, has come up from 14th on the grid. So definitely one for us to think about as a potential driver of the round there. So really good, strong racing from Mac Taylor, but he's going to come under pressure now from Andy Carroll, who will want the position back. Paul Laramie's had a good run as well. He's up into 9th now. Kenny Press still in 10th. But Lewis Stannard, yeah, I think the point I was making was really good that he's keeping his hand in. A little bit of profile for him here, particularly with the Mini Championship. And of course, you know, if he joins the Minis next year, I'll be banging on forever about how he came in and won his first race with the esports against the real world drivers.
Yeah, no, he's doing extremely well. Hasn't put a foot wrong. Getting through onto last lap now, I assume. 40 seconds to go. Come through a minute. A good spot. This is why we have people like Albert Webster in the box, because I would have totally missed that. So, thank you, Albert, for spotting that. Yeah, so Stannard on his last lap with livery downloaded now. There's a little tech gremlin at the start of the show, which we apologise for, but got the proper livery on the course now. So well done to that team, Steve and company, for sorting that out and getting it done. And our race leader is well clear. Andy Dorman's had a really good run with the ballast, remember, for P2. So, but Lewis Stannard, and what's good here for Lewis as well is that he gets to have to deal with traffic in race 2. How they're all going to behave at Rich's turn 1 in the reverse grid race is something that we'll talk about a little bit later on. But he's driven a faultless race so far, hasn't he? Yeah, done absolutely amazing. Done everything right. Done it. Just gone off the start. First lap, made sure he was in the lead still, and then from there he's just raced his own race. Not had a struggle with anyone. Pulled a little gap at the start, and then just carried on pulling it the whole way through the race.
It just goes to show you what a great grounding. We were talking about autograss being a great grounding for youngsters. It shows what a good grounding karting is, which is where Lewis came from, and also the Junior Saloon Car Championship as well, where he's learnt his car racing craft so far as he rounds Corham for the last time and comes up towards Murray's and exits that very slightly uphill now along Senna Straight. Ayrton Senna, the late great Ayrton Senna, did actually was actually based here and did a heck of a lot of testing back in the day here, which is why that is named after him. One day it might be maybe renamed the Stannard Straight, possibly, because it's Lewis Stannard who takes the win. We've got a long wait before we get to Andy Dorman. Well done, Lewis. Andy Dorman's going to take P2, so at least 2 of our 3 interviews are going to be the same from qualifying to race 1. Andy Dorman does take 2nd position. Thomas Potter will complete the top 3, so we didn't put the curse of the commentator on those over the last couple of laps. Lee Piercy, super recovery into 4th place, ahead of Alex Solly, who battled hard with him. Harry Hickson recovers well for 6th. Mackenzie Taylor, a really good drive from 14th on the grid into 7th place. Andy Carroll 8th, good and steady is Andy as ever. Paul Laramie 9th, Kenny Press 10th from Will Crooks, who goes across the line ahead of Will Clark in the 48 car. Then it's Henry Howarth. Also had a good recovery, Henry. Of course, his problems were later in the race, but still managed to get back up into 13th. Will Yap, one of our front runners from last week, was 14th, with Zach Hancock's next from Jack McCall, I think, has progressed this week as well. So good to see Jack making some progress as well. He finishes in 16th. Callum Einstein next from Kevin Yap, Alex Walker, Chris McKenzie next up, and Murray Richardson. Did Murray have some issues? Still going, I think, as well, just about to take the flag as well. Here comes Murray, who was much further up earlier on, but those issues can be put to one side for race 2. But before we get to race 2, podium interviews ahead, but that is after this short break.
Okay.
Podium time here with our VRRC Mini Challenge UK Championship. And let's have a word with the 3rd place driver, someone I'm getting used to doing a lot of talking to, and someone who's getting better and better with his interviews as well. There's nothing wrong with his interviews ever anyway. But well done, Thomas Potter, 3rd place. Was that something you expected, Thomas?
Well, yes, because well, today I was at my new biggest fan, William, came over, and I'll tell him now, I kept 2 hands on the steering wheel. He came in to watch me racing my high run, and he said, "Thomas, go get a podium." So I had to do it.
It's doing as you were asked. But that was a kind of there was a couple of, but you worked hard for it, but there was a couple of places where other people had problems.
Yeah, I was honestly just maximising my mistakes and putting my car in a position where I could maximise it, kind of like Nico did, I guess, in the F1. Just maximising, because I'll be honest, I'm not too good at Snetterton in front wheel drives. In rear wheel drives, I love it, but in front wheel drives, I'm not too keen.
But it's part of your learning experience, isn't it? Getting everything out of every type of car that you can get, in the esports.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just full on, sent it this race, maximising everything and just learned. Every single lap I was doing a different line of just learning. But at the same time, I don't think myself really likes these medium tyres as much as they do on the soft, so that could be something I might need to change going into race 2.
Okay, I was just having a look down. I think the only runner we had, it's changed now, isn't it? But we only had 1 runner on the soft tyre in race 1. I'm not quite sure whether the softs last, whether that was... let's have a quick look down the order. Whether that was Murray that was on the softs or not, I can't remember. I should have noted it down, but we'll see how that panned out. It was Murray. So yeah, whether that was what caused his issues, but we'll wait and see what you do for race 2, which is coming up, and as ever, it's a partial reverse. So, you know, we're in the hands of the gods, really, aren't we, as to see what happens at turn 1 with everybody.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I can tell you now, for me, after learning the hard way from last round, I'm going to be keeping it a bit more safe and maybe follow everyone else's line instead of venture on into my own line and end up in the back of someone who was spun.
That's fair enough, and that's why we're all here, isn't it? To learn stuff as we go on. But good to see you. Any more news? Obviously, you announced last week about Janetta. Has that moved on any further this week? Did anyone get in touch with you after announcing it last week?
Well, a lot of people. I can't say some, but big thanks to Katen once again, who actually came down to see me with her family. Matty and his family, which is his son William, who told me get a podium, which I did, and his advice was keep 2 hands on the steering wheel, so I don't spin. But as well as James's son Ralphie, who's one of my biggest fans as well. So huge thanks to them, and obviously everyone else on the car. U5 Oza for accepting me with the wheels, Falcon 22 Law. But big thanks to Katen, and this race 2 as well is dedicated to William and Ralphie.
Nice one. Thanks to Katen for supporting Thomas Potter. You can see the logo on the car there, Katen Logistics. So we thank them, and we say well done to Thomas on P3. Good P3. Good luck for race 2, Thomas, and we'll catch up with you a bit later.
Thank you.
So second position, we did have some mic issues earlier on, but I think we're hooked up now and can say well done on qualifying and also podium in the race to Andy Dorman, our championship leader. How are you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Tonight's going surprisingly well with all this ballast on board.
Does it make a big difference? Do you practice with and without the ballast, or do you go straight in with the ballast on?
I went straight in with the ballast on round Snetterton, and it's hard work.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a lot of switchbacks, aren't there?
Yeah, it's just wanting to push on through the corners and stuff, so you've got to change pretty much your whole driving style to accommodate it.
There was some, was it Harry Hicton was near you in the early stages, and then he had a moment and disappeared off. We didn't quite see what happened to Harry. He recovered well, he got 5th position, but that kind of took the pressure off you, didn't it?
Yeah, it took the pressure off. I can't remember who got past me and then exited stage left on the curb. Literally got one corner in front of me, clipped the outside curb, and it spat him off the track.
Okay, so our judicial is going to be an issue?
No, I didn't help him.
Oh, that's good. Our newcomer's a bit quick though, isn't he?
He's really quick, isn't he? I'd quite like to see how we're matched up without any ballast on.
That's going to be interesting to see. Presumably, I can't remember how the ballast works with the championship, but Lewis will get ballast next week, so it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. But he's rapid anyway, so very interested to see how that goes. But as championship leader, I've got to say, really impressive from yourself to come in championship leader, P2 qualifying, P2 race. That is, as good as it gets, surely.
Yeah, I don't think it gets any better than that. It's a lot better than I was expecting. I was hoping for sort of reverse pole or something like that in the second race.
Oh, wow.
It's gone a lot better than I thought in the first race.
We've got the reverse pole because you're, front row anyway, because you're on row 5 with Lewis, Thomas Potter in front, Lee Piercy. And I'm just wondering we've got some good drivers. So I'm hoping that we won't get any huge shenanigans as we go down to turn 1. But everybody, fairly evenly matched. And we've got drivers there all the way through the top 10. Who have good real-world experience and also lots of very good VRRC drivers. So in theory, it should be a safe second start. Now that could be my curse of the commentator for the round, though.
Yeah, that might be. It's normally the second corner around Snetterton at the hairpin.
That's true, actually, isn't it? Yeah, you get around turn 1, we all breathe a sigh of relief, and then everybody disappears off at the hairpin. That's a good point. So we'll see how that one pans out. But I'm going to say well done, Andy. Great that we got to chat to you at last. Well done on P2 qualifying and P2 in the race. And very best of luck for our reverse grid race.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Cheers, Andy. Glad we managed to catch up with Andy Dorman. He's going to get ready for the next race, which kicks off in just over 3 minutes' time. Gives us a chance to catch up with our race winner. Many congratulations to Lewis Stannard. A dominant victory there, Lewis.
Yeah, that was pretty decent, wasn't it? Yeah, you know, the start wasn't ideal. To be fair, I got quite a bit of wheel spin that got Andy nearly side by side, but I managed to cover it off going into turn 1 and turn 2. But yeah, I'm not really sure what happened. I think it was Harry that was third for a while, and then he just disappeared off of my relative. So yeah, interesting race behind. Didn't really get to see a lot of it, but
now you've got some work to do. Not that race 1 wasn't work. I shouldn't say that, because you did work hard to get away from everybody, but now you've got some traffic to deal with. What I will say very quickly is talk us through some of the names that you've got.
Some of the names on my lot.
Some of the logos and names that you've got on the car and how they're associated with you.
Yeah, so Jesus Christ, who do we have? We have Sim Dynamics, that is the dealer of the simulator that I'm currently running on. It's really good, high quality stuff. Never had any issues with it. We have Agentive that do a lot of marketing stuff with some pretty big companies. They came up to us literally a few weeks before round 1 last year, so without them it would be a lot harder to carry on. So big thank you to them. We've got Juicens, which, well, my dad's a builder, so
right,
it's one of his suppliers. They've helped us out quite a bit recently, so yeah, big thank you to everyone that's on the car today, and hopefully going forward we can keep them on there.
Fingers crossed they can. Has your dad got his own company, or does he subcontract?
Yeah, so he's got his own little company. He's currently building a couple houses literally at the end of our road, so it's quite nice to have Dad 50 metres away from the house, so I can go and bore him whenever I want. Really.
That is a good thing, isn't it? To have family nearby when it's not always the case for work. So well done, Lewis, and well done on the professional way you've been for your sponsors. So I'll say congratulations. I'll let you get away and get ready for race 2, and best of luck for that.
Thank you.
There you go, Lewis Stannard, one of our junior racers in the UK, real world racer, and bang on the money. Didn't know I was going to ask him about all the logos on the car, but they're ready to answer, and that's what you need to do. So here we go, race 2, and we've got Kenny Press and Paul Laramie on the front row of the grid with Andy Carroll and Mackenzie Taylor. So some front runners, quick runners from race 1 up at the sharp end for race 2. I was going to bring Albert Webster in then, but didn't really have time, but we will do once they've got around turn 1 as the lights go out. Paul Laramie trying to outgun Kenny Press down into turn 1, so into Riches they're going. It's Paul Laramie on the inside, Kenny Press is there, Mackenzie Taylor in 3rd place, Harry Hickton getting stuck in a little bit further back, contact with Thomas Potter, and well, they have all made it round turn 1, but is the prediction true here as they go past the scary tree into turn 2? Is this where we're going to get a little bit of shenanigans? A couple of cars start to face the wrong way but manage to pull it all back in. So actually that was a good reverse grid first 2 corners, Albert.
Yeah, no, it was a little bit of nudging and bumping, but it's what you're going to get around Snetterton through turn 1 into turn 2. Lewis Stannard's made an amazing start already. He's already up to 7th, catching people ahead. Amazing start again. Thomas Potter again. He's done well off the start, but Laramie made a great start. Made a little gap already.
Yeah, a couple of cars having some issues there. Kenny Press getting involved, drops a couple of positions after a little tag and goes off on the grass, drops down to 17th. That's a shame for Kenny. He was running really impressively in the first race. Lee Piercy now up into P2 ahead of Andy Carroll. So Piercy, sharp front runner in race number 1, was 4th position in race number 1, and now finds himself in 2nd. Right behind him we've got Andy Carroll, and then Alex Solly, who again was another good strong runner in race number 1. So these guys making the most of the partial reverse. They have work to do, but have come up through, and it's going to be tight here with Lewis Stannard busy involved now trying to get up with that group with Alex Solly, but Paul Laramie is checked out down the road. Typically in VRRC style and looking to try and build as much lead as he can from Lee Pearcey. Then it's Alex Solly and Lewis Stannard just going side by side with Thomas Potter. Thomas learning about Lewis Stannard here. Dives down the inside to Thomas. That was a lovely move from Thomas Potter to go up into 4th.
Yeah, he's made a great start. Lap 1, he's moved up a lot. Henry Howarth again, he's moved up. He's into 5th place now. Yeah, it's been a really good first lap. Few cars going off in the background down the back straight there. Couldn't quite see who was involved, but yeah, going quite well.
Oh, I think did Henry have a little rub on the back of Thomas Potter there, and Thomas goes off. That's Alex Solly who gets nudged off and into the barrier. I think our clerks are going to be busy after this one, which is a pity, but they'll sort it all out. There is a driver briefing that is held before the meeting gets underway, so the drivers are very well aware of what does and doesn't constitute contact and issues that we have on track. So that will no doubt all come out in the wash, but Paul Laramie still early from Lee Pearcey. Lewis Stannard 4th now behind Andy Carroll, and Henry Howarth in 5th. Andy Dorman involved in a little bit of contact, as is Mackenzie Taylor. It was I think Mackenzie maybe has had a little bit of contact as well, because he was up in the top 4 originally, now in 7th, so still very much in the mix, and plenty of time for them to sort each other or sort themselves out here in terms of the race beginning to settle down. But it's going to be an interesting one for me here, Albert. It's going to be Lewis Stannard and Henry Howarth, because I think Henry did get that far up in the previous race, and he is now chasing the leader.
That's it, yeah, he did. He was, after his incident at the start, you know, he had a bit of space at the back, making his way through, and yeah, he did get the fastest lap in the end by a few tenths, I think it was, over Lewis. So yeah, it'll be an interesting battle with these two. If they work together, you know, no doubt it'll be their catch up. But at the moment, Lee Pearcey is catching Paul quite a bit over the last lap or so, and you know, this is going to be the battle to watch at the moment.
Yeah, Lee is a good chaser, Paul Laramie a good defender. These two know each other very well, and of course what they might want to do is try and work together. We've got 3 of our regular sim races, our regular esports races, 1st, 2nd and 3rd at the moment, and if they did decide to work together, that might be a good thing to do, particularly as there are some good battles going on immediately behind. We've got Andy Dorman trying to deal with Harry Hickton there. Andy P2 in race number 1, still 8th place at the moment. Will Crooks down behind him. There is Will going through shot, with Alex Solly trying to recover down behind him as Harry Hickton stays in front of Andy Dorman out of the hairpin and makes his way down towards the left-hander at Palmer. So there is Andy Dorman, and they'll work their way down towards Agostini, which is where the leaders are now. Laramie, Pearcey, and Lee Pearcey, as Albert said, really closed in now. The battle for the lead, I think, about to happen.
Yeah, he's really, really close now, getting closer and closer every time we look. He's the one to watch now. I think he'll be on the back of him, putting pressure on as soon as he can, trying to get through. I think, you know, Pearcey knows he's got the pace from being a front runner at the start of the first race. If he can get through, I reckon, you know, it wouldn't be a dumb thing for Paul to let him through and then just follow, and then try and stay with him for the end, till the end of the race, instead of backing him up into the rest of the grid.
Yeah, that's fair comment. And down the back straight they go, and it's Lee Pearcey in yellow and blue, but Paul Laramie with the inside run, and Pearcey, little mistake, goes on the grass. This is going to bring Andy Carroll into it, and Andy looking up here, still carrying that error, and goes off onto the grass. Lost so much momentum there with that challenge for the lead, and it's restored Paul Laramie's lead now with Andy Carroll in P2, and now Lewis Stannard right in the mix. He's going to try and slot in behind, well, I was going to say Pearcey trying to get back up into P2, because it's Andy Carroll in P2 now. Lewis Stannard, I think, doing a sensible thing here, maybe just watching to see how this plays out in front of him.
Yeah, you know, there's been a bit of contact already this race. You know, if it carries on like it is, I think it's best just to sit there and watch it happen and pick up the pieces.
So, question for you is, would you want to be Luke Cordell and Clarking this one after the event?
I would like just to sit there and watch him and see what he does. Yeah, I know Luke quite well from seeing him in person a few times.
You've been to see him a lot.
Yeah, I've seen him. I know him by first name, put it that way. But yes, I would not want to be in Luke's shoes as of right now.
As I say, I have the utmost respect for all of our clerks. They do a fantastic job. I'm not just saying that; they really do a great job at whatever. And some of the stick that the clerks get, and this goes back to when I used to cover a lot more football, and the referees and officials got so much stick. When you meet them, they're great people. They're just doing the best job they can, and they're all decent folk. I don't think I ever met a ref or a clerk who hasn't got the best interests of the drivers very much at heart. And yet we all get stuff wrong, but the clerks are on hiding to nothing most of the time. Here's Thomas Potter though, trying to chase down Henry Howarth. So Thomas, we've seen make up a couple of good positions. Henry Howarth now chasing Andy Carroll, so he's lost sight of Lewis Stannard for a moment. He's going to try and get back up, but remember, we're looking at the 5th place car, which was the fastest driver in race number 1. So Henry Howarth, like Lewis Stannard, a very valuable addition to this championship. It's going to be fascinating to see Henry and Lewis racing on equal terms again in future rounds if we can get that. But Paul Laramie here has maintained the lead, Albert, hasn't he, ahead of Lee Pearcey. Pearcey having to look at Lewis Stannard, and here's the view back from Pearcey's car. These two battling hard, and Lewis just trying to suss out regular esports driver with VRRC as they come out of Murray's and onto the centre straight again.
That's it. These two are extremely fast. I think these two should probably work together to catch up, but Lewis is a young driver who is extremely fast, who probably just wants to get through and then get to the lead straight away. But he's done so well from starting 10th already in less than 9 minutes all the way up to 3rd, keeping out of all the kerfuffle at the start. I think he's done extremely well.
That's a good word, a very good word. I've not heard that one in racing terms, but it's absolutely spot on. It's exactly what we did have at the start. So Laramie out front still, 1.2 seconds the gap, which is beginning to come down again. He managed to deal with one, or the others managed to deal with it for him. The challenge was on for the lead as we look at Pearcey and Stannard 2nd and 3rd. Andy Carroll is in 4th place, but there's a little bit of a queue behind Andy Carroll now. Cars go through Carroll, Howarth and Potter all pretty much together, and then a little bit of a gap back to the blue and pink of the Manpower Motorsport Harry Hickton car. We'll see whether Harry can try and close up. Definitely some track limits going on as well.
Yeah, Henry Howarth there on the exit of Hamilton going ever so slightly wide. Yeah, track limits might come into a factor after the end of this race, and little bits like this with the contacts and things like this. So I think maybe not the front of the pack at the moment, but I think mid-pack could be who's going to win it. It's going to be winning it at the Clarks at the end of this race, I reckon.
There might be a decision. We'll call it the way it finishes across the line, and if you need to check out who does what, there will be a VRRC social media post to let you know what's happened in terms of any changes over the course of the next couple of days. But it's Paul Laramie still out front, actually maintaining the gap very well indeed. Here is Paul. Lewis Stannard now in 2nd ahead of Lee Pearcey, and look how much gap he's pulled on Lee Pearcey, and now we're starting to think about a potential double here because he's closing in. That's 100% focus going on here, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got past. He's blocked his mirrors out of his mind, and he's just completely focused on Paul ahead. He's a quick driver. He's doing everything he needs to again. The double from what he's doing at the moment from the last laps over a second quicker. So he's flying around at the moment. I think he'll be on him very, very soon.
So are you focused on the car in front, or are you just focused on your own lines at the moment? Well, now he's focused on the car in front because he's caught him, but that bit when you're trying to catch up, is it just putting in perfect laps? Yeah,
it's just trying to set quali lap after quali lap. You don't think about the car ahead and what it's doing until you're within a range of of an overtake. I don't think it's better to do your own thing instead of trying to focus on the car ahead, just because then you're not worried. You're just on your own. You've got your own little you're in your little room, and you're really focused on what you're doing instead of what the car is ahead.
Lewis Stannard's managed to get around the outside, the exit of Agostini into Hamilton, gets the lead. So we've got the potential of a double victory here. Paul Laramie relegated to second. It's a good opening run from Paul Laramie, though, to be absolutely fair to him. The opening stages of this one soaked up a lot of pressure and maintained second position. But all of a sudden, we've got a lot of cars together. So it's Stannard, Laramie, Lee Piercy in third, Andy Carroll fourth. Then we've got the Howarth and Potter battle ahead of Hickton and Dorman. Andy Dorman, I think, maybe he's probably levelled out to where he expected to be in terms of his pace with the ballast on board. Alex Solly 9th, Mackenzie Taylor in 10th position, Will Crooks 11th. Having another good run in this one is Zach Hancock's in the Alliance car as well. So he's in the top 12 from Will Yap, and then Will Clark, Chris Mackenzie 15th. Chris having a better run in this one as well. Chris Mackenzie, race winner from City Car Cup, as we mentioned before, and also race winner in JCW Sports as well. As we watch Thomas Potter still trying to do what he can on Henry Howarth. He can get close enough, but just can't get the opportunity to go past, which suggests the pair of them relatively equally matched. There is Thomas Potter down across the line goes Thomas, and we're on board with him at the moment. A little bit of a gap back to Henry Howarth as they go through Riches, now down towards Montreal. I'll still call it Montreal, but of course it is actually named after Justin Wilson now, as we mentioned on the opening stages of race 1. Out of there, down towards Palmer, the left-hander, can get caught off a little bit on the Canberra, the exit of the left-hander at Palmer on the outside, but nobody that I've seen has been caught out with that in this one, as Lewis Stannard continues to lead from Paul Laramie, P2, 1.6 seconds down now. Lee Piercy still completing the podium in third. Andy Carroll is in fourth place, and not that far away from Lee Piercy, as is Henry Howarth. So we've got, really, you've got to say, Lee Piercy, Andy Carroll, Henry Howarth, Thomas Potter, all really fighting over that last podium spot at the moment. Yeah,
it's getting really competitive, them three. Well, the whole grid now, the good few top 5, top 6. Harry Hickton now catching up to the battle as well. It's getting really close. It's going to come down to the last few laps here. Who's going to get onto the top 3? It's anyone's game at the moment. Lewis Stannard is doing amazing. He's got nearly a 2-second gap now into second. So as long as he holds it on, he'll do. You know, he's doing really well at the moment. Just keep it going like this. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's doing well. This is going to be good news. I think there might be some shouting from the VRRC and the junior saloons after this one for his super debut here from Lewis. Paul Laramie in P2. So he's got his mirrors full now of Lee Piercy. So Lee Piercy going for P2. And this is the brave way to do it. It's the outside run that he's looking at here as they go around Coram. And he's got in mind that he could maybe attack on the inside into Murray's corner here, the 90-degree left-hander. Not quite anything doing there. But he's also, Lee Piercy, going to be mindful he's got Andy Carroll and Henry Howarth, who squeezes onto the grass there to try and make the pass on the inside. So we've got 2x2 going on here, and Paul Laramie holding on to second position at the moment in the green and brown car, green and magenta car, as Henry Howarth now moves up actually behind him. Thomas Potter wasn't quite where he needed to be. Harry Hickton's caught Thomas Potter now at the back of this group. Fantastic shot as we look at them going up into the hairpin. Henry Howarth going for the big burn up round the outside again, runs very deep, does Henry. Did that once in race number 1. Just gets on gets off the gas, I should say, in time to stop contact on Paul Laramie in front of him. But now it's Lee Piercy P2, Laramie in third, but for how long?
Yeah, he's got a big group behind him now. He's got a lot of pressure, so he's doing extremely well to hold on to this at the moment. He's driven absolutely amazing. Oh, big bit of contact there.
Yeah, I think Henry and Luke are going to be having a little chat.
I think they're definitely going to be having a chat there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all part of the learning experience in this for sure. But Henry up onto a podium provisionally with Thomas Potter right behind him now. So Thomas has got through. Harry Hickton is behind them. So Harry Hickton, Andy Carroll, and then Andy Dorman in 7th. Andy sort of with the cars that are having trouble making up positions, but handily placed there, Andy Dorman at the back of this, our championship leader after round 1, in a good box seat to be able to score some decent points as Thomas Potter is having a look now at Henry Howarth. He's going on the outside as they go into the Brundle Nelson complex. Can't quite do it as they come out of there, head down towards Bombhole again. And Thomas busy fighting. He would dearly love to get another podium, and we'll see whether that does indeed pan out for him. But it's Henry Howarth now. Thomas Potter, in fact, they're ahead of Andy Carroll. It's Lee Piercy who goes through head of that group from Henry Howarth, Thomas Potter, Harry Hickton, Andy Carroll in 6. Andy Dorman next, well into the second half of the race now. Timing screen seems to have be showing Lewis Stannard down in 4th place at the moment. The timing tower doesn't, so I'm just trying to reconcile the two. Something glitching for sure. So Lee Piercy goes through. My clock's running down, but the timing tower on my second screen not working the best at the moment, as Henry Howarth trying to close down on Lee Piercy. So there is Lee, who's got a little bit of breathing space at the moment over Henry. And when you've had that contact, is it in your mind? Is the visit to the clerk in your mind, and how difficult it is to put that out of your head?
Yeah, I think it can be quite difficult, you know, after a move that you probably shouldn't have gone for and shouldn't have done. You know you're going to the clerks, but at the end of the day, you've just got to do your best to put it at the back of your head, realise it's done, you can't change it, and sort of, you know, just do your best so the penalty that you get given pushes you as far back at least as you can. So all he's got to do now is try and get his head down and make sure he stays in front of these guys.
Yeah, he's just got to get on with the job in hand. To take the medicine afterwards is the thing to do. Quick look at the best laps are all over the place here, and it's definitely slower than race number 1. We've got best lap, I think, 2:04.1, which is
2:03.2 from Lewis Stannard.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I hadn't got that point on the timing screen. 2:04.3. That's my timing isn't updated properly at the moment, but here we go. It is updated now, so yeah, I've got Lewis back on the top of my timing screen, which is a much better place to be. From Lee Piercy in 2nd position, Henry Howarth in 3rd. Through goes our 2nd place car through shot, and our 3rd, Harry Hickton now up into Harry Hickton. This is resilient stuff as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a good driver. Like I said at the start, he's very consistent. He keeps going through. You know, he's the champion of the Mini Coopers last year. And yeah, doing extremely well in this championship, getting back through to 4th place for now, and yeah, doing really well.
Doing superbly into the last third of our 2nd round of the championship. Next week we are at Oulton Park, and a total contrast, another MSV circuit, of course. So in real life, very well maintained, like Snetterton is by Jonathan Palmer's team. But yeah, completely different. I dare say a little bit narrower, lots more ups and downs to consider for all parts. So different driving styles that the guys are going to encounter. And then we go to Croft, which is our next stop as well on the touring car package, as we see Alex Solly and Mackenzie Taylor getting involved here. So let's see what Alex Solly can do. Again, the traditional move is to the inside as they go down into the Agostini hairpin. When you watch it on the outside, it doesn't really look that much like a hairpin, but it is. And Mackenzie Taylor getting him back as they go through now into Hamilton, up towards Oggies, which is the first of the double right-handers. The next one is Williams, which brings them back onto the straight. Used to be known as the Steb Straight, but now Bentley, after Dr. Palmer renamed all the corners. So good battling going on between those. Still Stannard, Piercy and Howarth out front. Harry Hickton is next up. Thomas Potter down in 7th. So Thomas is going to be a little bit frustrated with that as we go on board with Andy Dorman, who's got ahead of Potter. So this is significant here for the championship leader, getting ahead of Thomas, who I think would have been provisionally 2nd in the standings after race 1. So Andy's got this little psychological victory at the moment, and busy chasing Andy Carroll. So another place perhaps in the offing for him in the next couple of corners.
Yeah, it's done. He's done well to get in front there, and yeah, all he's thinking about is championship now, is trying to make sure he's beating the people he needs to, and then worry about the people who's close to him later on in the championship. So yeah, doing very well at the moment, making sure that he's doing the championship.
Yeah, absolutely superb stuff. Now let's have a look, see what Andy Dorman can do, make up another place very possibly. Thomas Potter was closing up there as we again look down on these cars having a great battle. It's still Lewis Stannard out front. Just reading some of the comments that get coming through on our chat, which is quite funny. Luke Courtney is both chat watching as well, and I think we're all probably know where we're going in terms of our driver of the round. And remember, it could be a driver that's done well at the front, it could be someone who's recovered well and put in a spirited drive. We'll let you know who that is going to be towards the end, but seems to be all in agreement at the moment on who that should be. Henry Houston in third place, Lee Piercy second, Lewis Stannard out front, but we continue to look at this 5th, 6th and 7th place battle. In fact, it's Thomas Potter in 7th, who has just really spent the whole couple of races trying to look forward and just trying to make a little bit of progress and get back into it. It was a good solid podium for him in race number 1, and he'll be aware that Andy Dorman has got that points lead on him at the moment. So the crucial thing for Thomas now in terms of the race is not going to get on the podium, but is he going to be able to take a few points off the championship leader here? That's the ask for him. Andy Dorman looking pretty solid at the moment in 6th. Out of Coram, down through Murray's they go again. We have 7 minutes on the clock. Normally you'd say for a leader at this stage that they're going to be 7 long minutes. I think Lewis Stannard's going to be troubled about anything in this VRRC racing debut with us. Clear of Lee Piercy, who's had a very good joining of the series as well. Was a late sign up as we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, Lee Piercy, but very glad that he did. And he's put in a good performance and will score well. A bit of a
Henry Howard
report on the...
two.
Yeah, here we go. And Harry Hickton and Henry Howarth. Okay, call that one.
You'd have to see the onboards. I'll leave that one for Luke.
Yeah, Luke's going to have some a fair amount of work to sort out with this one at the end of the day. But Harry Hickton and Henry Howard racing different classes, of course, in the real world, with Henry being our JCW Sport Championship leader and Harry Hickton. Oh, they really are. Now, I'll tell you what, that's not what we're promoting here, but Harry Hickton, yeah, just like real world, if you get it, we're going to give it back, and that has cost Harry dearly. Comes back on track, but has lost all the momentum. Yeah, we might have to start putting replays in next week's program or the following week's programs to show some of this stuff. But those lads very much getting stuck in. I think it's fair to say there will be some judicials as a result of this, to be absolutely fair, and there will be a riot act read before we go to Oulton Park. But Henry Howe's still showing in 3rd place. Andy Carroll is in 4th. Then it is Thomas Potter. Oh, Andy Carroll, Andy Dorman, then Thomas Potter. At the moment, Harry Hickton down in 7th, having had a good recovery. But Henry Howarth, if anyone's watching this in JCW Sport, they'll probably know not to mess with Henry now.
Yeah, I mean, it's he's racing his race. He's doing well. He's quick, still very quick. You know, he's still very quick to be there in the top 3 at the moment. You know, Luke is going to have a lot of fun at the end of this race with everything, but he's doing very well at the moment to be in the top 3. Lewis Stannard again pulling away, having fun on his own, enjoying it. Same with Piercy. They've still got a lovely gap in front and behind both of them. They're just driving around now to finish the time out, waiting for the clock to run out.
They are, and yeah, that Henry Howard says just mega job in race 1 with that fastest lap, which was good. 2:03.2 is the fastest lap in this one at the moment, with Lewis Stannard, our race leader. One thing Lewis will learn from this, and this happens in the real world as well as virtual, lead away, you don't get any coverage, or you don't get much coverage. Maybe off the start and a couple of overtakes, and then the last lap is the way the ITV people do it, because they do tend to focus on the battles that are going on in the field. But we haven't seen too much of Lewis, and that's why, because he's away, and we have plenty of action to look at going on immediately behind. Thomas Potter still trying to close in. Harry Hickton has been very resilient in this one, and as far as I'm concerned, very definitely in consideration of one of the many drivers that we're thinking about for driver of the round, the way that he has come back from stuff in this one. But we'll see how that pans out. 3:32 on the clock remaining here on our virtual race day at Snetterton, the 300 circuit. I haven't seen a race on the 200 for quite a few years now, as we watch from Thomas Potter. Still a little bit too distant from Andy Dorman to do anything about him, but it's Lewis Stannard, Lee Pearcey and Henry Howarth are going to be our podium interviews as it stands at the moment, with just a couple of laps to go. Henry Howarth looking comfortable in P3. Andy Carroll's been there or thereabouts, hasn't he, all through the meeting as well. So good points, I think, for Andy, who was P2 in the championship. He's ahead of Thomas Potter, so might get P2 in the standings back, and that'll be a good reward, Albert. We'll have some good solid driving from him.
Yeah, exactly. He's done nothing spectacular. He's been there. He's got some extremely good points. He's done everything right. From everything you've seen, fourth place, depending on stewards at the end of it, could go up. But yeah, extremely good. A fourth, and where was it in the first start? I can't quite remember, but extremely good driving from himself. Yeah, done very good. Everything right for the championship points, and you've got the top three in the championship coming into this weekend on screen there. Extremely close again, and it'll be good to see how it pans out through the rest of this championship.
It will. It's going to be an interesting continuation of it for sure, and I'm sure it will go like other championships that will have a few drivers drop out. Disappointed we didn't get the team thing happening. We were trying to get a couple of teams to have interchangeable drivers. There is talk about Dan Zelos coming and having it at some point, and I looked back at the old records from when Dan Zelos raced with us during the COVID years, which is how we first got, or how I got started with VRRC. Thomas Potter just has a little wild moment and goes off on the grass. And unsurprisingly, Dan Zelos was a little bit rapid in our esports as well. And when he watched last week and co-commentated with us, I think it whetted his appetite to come back. It's a shame we haven't got him this week, but I hope if he's watching that he is still thinking of coming back and racing with us. Very much the benchmark over the last few years, wasn't he, Dan Zelos?
Yeah, he was the man to beat for the fact that last year won it with a round to go and then decided let's have a go at touring cars. He drove spectacularly all year, especially in minis, and then he's doing very well this year in Porsche, getting used to it and understanding what they're like and how they drive.
Just a mega bloke. There's so many mega families and drivers. Your family, great company. So many brilliant people that I love seeing in the paddock, and it's not about what happens on track as well. It's the company that we keep in the course of the weekends, and there's nobody I dislike talking to in the mini paddock. All absolutely brilliant. As Mackenzie Taylor, who was certainly in with a shout for driver of the round as well. Great performance in race number 1. Still in the top 10 here, and putting Paul Laramie, our early leader, under a little bit of pressure. So Mackenzie Taylor looking to try and add an 8th to the 7th that he got in race number 1, remember, from 14th on the grid, and trying to have a go. And well done to Steve, our director, for picking up on that. Steve trying to give us the best of the action all the way through the field, which he does well. So Andy Dorman tries to get on terms with Andy Carroll. This battle here between these two is very much between Championship P1 and P2. As we go back to Laramie and Taylor, with Alex Solly in behind as well. What do you think you've got drivers of the quality of Alex Solly in 10th place? It just goes to show how competitive this group of esports drivers are. Can we call esports drivers athletes, or is that going too far, Albert?
Oh, I don't know. We've just worked out in the real world that they're athletes. People have started to come around to the idea of racing drivers being athletes. I don't know if we can quite get sim drivers just yet. Not quite, I don't think. They're good at what they do, but I wouldn't say athletes, not yet.
I'm sure somebody from the political correctness brigade would probably say they are. But you've still got a bit. I mean, when the weather's getting hotter again next week, so I think you're going to have to be fairly fit to do next week's racing. Given I think we're going to be 33 degrees again by next week. We just got a shot there. There is Lewis Stannard, and we're looking at Lewis because the clock is down to 0, so he's on his last lap, and faultless stuff here from Lewis as he heads around Coram for the last time, Albert.
Yeah, amazing drive again from 10th on the grid to get all the way up to the lead and then pull another nearly 6-second lead. Extremely impressive drive. One to watch for the future.
Very definitely so. Buzzes the pit wall, crosses the line, takes the virtual checker flag to take a win. It's a double win for Lewis Stannard here at Snetterton. Second position, great drive from Lee Pearcey, and the podium is completed by Henry Howarth. So Henry gets third place, and we get our interview with the birthday boy. Andy Carroll, good solid fourth position again, ahead of Andy Dorman, with Harry Hickton in sixth. Good spirited stuff from Harry and a good fight back. Thomas Potter seventh. Mackenzie Taylor did get the that eighth position away from Paul Laramie. So in fact, Alex Solly ninth. Mackenzie Taylor next up, as the screen goes a little bit glitchy on me. And then we get Will Clark, who is next. Well done, Will. 11th position. Laramie wrapping up. Paul Laramie wrapping up the top 10. Then it's Will Crooks. Kenny Press 13th. Callum Einstein makes good progress to come up into 14th. Zach Hancock's is next. Then we have Murray Richardson in 14th. Flick screens over. Chris McKenzie 17th. Jack McCall in 18th. Another good solid finish for Jack. William Yap 19th from Kevin Yap. And I think that is pretty much how they will finish. So congratulations to all of our drivers in race 4 of our series, second event, Racing Wise Complete. Interviews to come up, and we'll have those for you in just a couple of minutes. Well, we're going to crack on straight away with our interviews, and I'm glad we got this chance to do this one, because we've welcomed drivers to the championship, and one of the welcomes is a happy birthday as well. So it's a happy birthday. Well done on third place across for Henry Howarth.
Thanks a lot.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Obviously, first weekend in this esports series, but it was good.
How much practice time have you put in?
I was doing a bit yesterday and the day before, but it's sort of been a very last-minute decision to do this, but I'm glad I did.
We're glad you did as well, and I think it shows real commitment, you giving up the opportunity, as I said earlier on today, giving up the opportunity to basically go to the pub for the evening on your 18th birthday for your first legal pint or two,
Yes.
and come and race with us. So we're very glad that you did, and I'm guessing you are going to go for some refreshment afterwards.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I'll probably go downstairs and have a pint, I'm sure. But yeah, no, it was really good to be here. And to be honest, I'm an absolute racing nerd, so I love racing. So to be honest, it's not a bad way to spend my birthday.
That's good. Okay, so the elephant's in the room. What about the contacting?
I think it was hard racing, and like we just didn't really judge the room quite enough. And Harry thought he had to place gun where I still just was alongside. He didn't quite judge that space correctly. It's hard racing at the end of the day. It's unfortunate that it did happen, but you're always going to have contact in racing, and particularly in these, it's quite hard to judge what the gap is, particularly when you're running side by side like that. So I think it's just a bit of unfortunate contact, but yeah, that's what it is.
You're not stepping up to JCWs, are you, for the next round? I mean, we're not going to see you and Harry sort of having handbags.
Unfortunately not. I'd absolutely love to, but yeah, unfortunately the financial situation is a bit of a struggle. But we're making good progress in the sports series, and next year we will definitely look at the possibility of JCW.
I mean, talking about that sport category, you're saying it's going quite well, but you're leading it, so it's going very well.
Yeah, no, it's been really good, but I'm also very lucky to have a very supportive family and some great sponsors on board to support us. But yeah, we just need a few more to be able to make that jump next year, but we're always looking.
obviously we got co-coms today with the man who was in sport last year. Albert Webster has done a super job with us today. Tell us your experience of sport, and it must be great to just have that opportunity where you haven't quite got the budget, or you want to come in and be part of the touring car package on a regular basis, and there are 7 rounds, and it just gives you, it makes that step onto the touring car package a little bit easier than having to go straight into JCW, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been a great help for us to get into that package, because we were, at the end of last year when I won the Fiesta Am Championship, we were sort of contemplating our options, and with TCR and Civics leaving and us staying on the VRSCC and Fiestas, we were sort of wondering what was the best course of action career-wise for us. That's when Jam Sport offered us the deal in the JCW Sport, and it's been working out really well so far.
Is Jamie going to be pleased that you're on the podium tonight?
Probably. I've definitely had a few birthday messages from him, which was really nice. I'm sure he'll be happy to see the pink card back on the podium again.
Are we not going to get Jensen O'Neill going out in this as well at some point?
I can always ask him. You never know. He might make an appearance. It might be a bit chaos if he does, though. So.
You can't say that. He won the juniors. I mean, and you have to stay on to win, don't you? So.
True, that is very true. No, he's a great driver, and I'll see if I can convince him to spend a weekend doing this with us.
That would be really good. But Henry, I'm going to let you get away. So well done on getting onto the podium.
Right, thanks a lot.
Congratulations for your 18th. Thank you for spending part of it with us. We appreciate that. Welcome to the championship. Have a great rest of the day, Henry Howarth. So Henry takes P3, and he'll be off now to do his celebrations. And some celebrations, I think, after race 1 for Lee Piercy. Again, just think about this. We've got 3 new entrants all in the podium here for our reverse grid race. Well done, Lee. Mega job after last weekend as well. So you've gone from racing the Ferrari into a Mini. Totally different experience for you.
Yeah, it's definitely took some getting used to. So, 2 days ago, I was about 3.5 seconds off the pace, and had no idea what I was doing. So it's going from a Ferrari to a Mini Cooper it's definitely took some getting used to. But no, it was good. So yeah, race 1 didn't quite go to plan, a little mistake, and then race 2 had plenty of mistakes as well, but luckily not as big as race 1.
Sorry to be the one that dwells on the negative, but tell us about the mistake in race 1.
So I think, is it Hamilton's the left-hander in the middle, and I just went through there. And to be fair, I'd done so many laps on the soft tyres just to try and get like practicing quick laps. I hadn't done many on the mediums, and I just let the car run. I just got past, I think it's Andy, and I thought, right, just keep it smooth, see if we can get away from him. I just let the car run through there, and I run across the end of the curb, and which I've not done before, and the curb just completely flicked the car around. So it just completely unexpected. If I'd have known and done it in practice, I'd have run the curb more or lifted off, but it just 1 minute I was facing forward, next minute it was exit stage left. So bit of a shock, but it was good fun coming back through, and some good races with the guys to get back where I did in the last one. And then this one, a couple of mistakes trying to get past Paul. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm sure he's the hardest person I've ever had to overtake. I always make hard work of overtaking Paul, and he defends well. I was hoping we could get away from get in the lead and get away and make it a bit more of an interesting race, but unfortunately too many mistakes for me tonight, and couldn't make a harder race for him.
That's fair enough. It's good solid driving anyway, and great to see. And are you up for the rest of the series?
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't going to do it because it's a bit of a juggling act, as we mentioned before, with the kids and everything else. Like even tonight, I had the kids and the wife got stuck in traffic. So it was. Didn't know if I was even going to make it on. So, but yeah, hopefully. I watched it last week and saw how good the racing was. So, Rich has let me join in. So, really enjoyed it tonight. It's good battling with the youngsters, and just listening to Henry. I actually celebrated my 18th birthday at Snetterton when I was racing Formula Fords, and I don't think he was even born back then. Yeah, so happy birthday to Henry, and But that was even on the old layout, which most of these boys probably would never have done. So we didn't have the infield with Hamiltons and everything else. So
No, it's a good old 200, wasn't it then? Or it wasn't even
Yeah.
named as the 200, just called Snetterton. That was it.
It's just like an oval, an oval with a bomb hole. That was it. It was just yeah. So yeah, happy birthday to him. I've got fond memories of my 18th birthday at Snetterton as well. So fair play.
That's
to
a
him.
great link, Lee. Thanks for that. Really, really good mega one.
No worries.
And thank you for that. Well done on P2, and we'll catch you next week.
Nice one. Thank you very much. Cheers.
That was Lee Piercy finishing in second position. Great drive and sort of stars from the VRRC racing. It'd be great to see him get some real world stuff at some point. And so we go on to our winner, which again, double win. I seem to be getting drivers doing double wins at the moment in VRRC racing round. The latest winner of that is our third newcomer, and another chat with him on the podium, Lewis Stannard. Well done, Lewis. Absolutely superb stuff. Obviously, the first one you were on pole and you said you had difficulty at the start, but on that one, the difficulty at the start was coming through from 10th on the grid. So tell us how it felt for you.
Yeah, that was a really interesting start, to be fair. I had a lot better initial launch off the line, didn't get wheel spin at all, so that was a lot smoother, and then obviously it's a reverse grid in a front wheel drive low powered car, so you've got to expect mayhem, and that's exactly what I expect, and you've just got to almost set yourself up for people in front of you going off and unsafe rejoins and all that, and luckily it went my way, so yeah, relatively pleased with that.
Oh, you say luckily, but yeah, he drove really well. I think fastest lap in that one as well. Henry Howth got fastest lap in race 1, so it sets us up with all the different characters that we've got, you know, inside the, well, just in the championship full stop. But if we look at the table now, because everyone drops around, the table that we've got drops around automatically. Yours is the highest score out of the 2 rounds so far. So you lead the championship now. Andy Dorman, you know, he's going to, when you're on the same ballast as him, there's going to be some great between you and Andy. Andy Carroll's so consistent so far. He's third. Lee Piercy, we just heard from. Thomas Potter will give you a race anytime as well. So when things level up, it's going to be an absolutely fascinating 5 weeks upcoming in this championship, I feel.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tight, especially nearer the end of the championship. You know, you've got Thomas that has been doing stuff with this championship forever, really. You've got obviously Harry, who's doing it in real life. He's always going to be quick. And there's a few other JCW drivers on the grid, so it's not going to be easy, but I'll give it my all and try and fight for the championship, and if I win it, that'll be amazing.
Make sure the JSCC media team put out a little quote. Make sure you tell them that you've had the double win here, and you know, be useful for them to give us a little plug and give them one of their drivers, have a little toot on their trumpet for one of their star drivers doing it. And talking of star drivers, we reward rounders, so congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you did all the hard work. As I say, sometimes we do it for, you know, out and out pace and impact and everything else. Impact in the nicest way, not the contact way. But sometimes we do it in recoveries and things like that. Absolute unanimous decision that you were driver of the round for today, Lewis. And I'm guessing Oulton Park. Have you raced there in JSCCs?
Yeah, I've done. What's the layout? The longer one last year.
Is that the international?
International, yeah.
Yeah, so I did that with them last year, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be the one with the hairpin. So
It's the touring car.
yeah,
Touring car
so
one, hairpin now call it.
The island
so
one.
That's
it's going to be slightly different, but I'm not going to let anything stop me. Obviously, I'm just going to put the time in as exactly the same as I did this week, and who knows, maybe it will happen again. You know, you can't predict it in this, especially with the reverse grid in the second race. It's just, you never know what's going to happen.
No, you don't. But I think we're going to look forward to it. So, what's a typical week look like for you, sort of between now and day wise, and how much practice?
Yeah, so I've had this issues educationally. I won't go too far into it because I'll be here for hours. But
That's all right.
long story short, I'm not at school. I'm doing homeschooling right now, so I have a lot more time compared to other people that might be in school or college or whatever they're doing. So it's a lot easier, but it's got its own challenges in other ways which wouldn't help. But yeah, it's definitely a decent advantage to have.
I think education-wise, everyone is individual. One of the things I struggled with, say, with our son was finding the right teachers at times for him and the right method. COVID hit us as a family very, very hard indeed educationally, yeah, you just never know until you get the right place. So hopefully that will continue. So there we go. I think we're near the end of our wrap for today. We spoke about your sponsors at the end of race 1, which you did superbly. What I'll say is,
I made a mistake.
Did you?
I said Agentive was something completely wrong. So it's an IT company that does data and analytics with other companies. So it's not whatever I said before. It's
okay.
It's not. Did I say marketing? I have no idea what I said, but yeah, that's it.
That's great. You've put that right, which is good. So thank you very much for that, and thanks for their support of you in your career as well. And hopefully that will continue. Great that you can have all these stills of the sponsors showing on there, and showing. What's nice for a sponsor is that you're out there promoting them even away from the racetrack, which is, I think, mega. It's extra value for money for them. So. Lewis, welcome to the championship. Very well done. Pole, double win, fastest lap and driver of the round. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And also a big thank you, as ever, to Steve, who's done the honours with the directing, and to Albert Webster. Albert,
hello. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it today. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And, keep up the good work on track and also with your co-coms on days when you're with us at Touring Cars. Love listening to you on Saturday. Thanks ever so much for this, mate.
Awesome.
Much appreciated, and all the best to you. Look forward to seeing you at Croft in a few weeks. Yeah, look forward to that, and we'll see you then. But championship-wise, Lewis Stannard, lead championship. Andy Dorman second, Andy Carroll third from Lee Piercy, Thomas Potter fifth from Harry Hickton, Henry Howe seventh, Mackenzie Taylor eighth, so Mackenzie having a good run. James Black in ninth. James probably having this week as his drop score. Alex Solly wraps up the top 10 from Will Yap, Will Clark, Kenny Press, Paul Laramie, Alex Walker, Will Crooks, Jack McCall 17th from Callum Einstein, Kevin Yap 19th, then Zach Hancocks, Chris McKenzie and Murray Richardson. All provisional. Of course, we'll update you on the championship positions when we are back next week. I always love virtual Oulton Park because you don't have to queue up for 3 hours to get out. You just get up and go out of the door, which is brilliant. From all of us here on VRRC, thank you again for watching. Thanks, Albert Webster and Steve Allen, our director. Have a lovely week. Be nice to each other, and we will see you next Tuesday virtually at Oulton Park. Bye for now.
Between the two of them,
The inside of coats.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Woo!